What if Riley Leonard, the new quarterback transferring in from Duke to Notre Dame, what if, wait for it, he has a Jaden Daniels type of season? This is an intriguing one because the reason that they're asking this, the reason why this is a plausible what if is because Mike Denbrock, coming over from LSU back to Notre Dame, called an offense last year with Jaden Daniels to where they did numbers like Good Will Hunting. I mean, it was road to glory numbers for Jaden Daniels out there. We'll talk about his numbers in a second. But for the offense specifically, they were number one in terms of yards per pass in all of college football, just under 11. They scored 43 points a game. And Mike Denbrock did a phenomenal job. One, elevating Jaden Daniels, and then two, playing to his skill set. Something you saw a lot last year at LSU, something you'll see a lot this year at Notre Dame if you watch the Fighting Irish. Kind of that pseudo triple option where you bring probably an H-back or a tight end across the formation at the snap. It's read option. You're reading your run key. If he gives you a look to pull it, then you're out on the edge. It's perimeter. So instead of a pitch backwards, it's either a pass forward to the perimeter or the quarterback tucks it and runs. So you got three options on one play, kind of the modern triple option. It works with a mobile quarterback. Riley Leonard, given his resume at Duke, guess what? Mobile quarterback. So we like that. The offense also, it's worth noting, here at Notre Dame is going to be, I think, the most dynamic it's been in the better part of, the last decade. Is that fair to say? Fighting Irish fans, tell me if I'm wrong, but I think with the weapons you have in-house with the burner that is Chris Mitchell from FIU, got through the portal. He averaged 93 yards a game. Averaged 93 yards a game at FIU last year. Jaden Harrison, another burner at receiver for you. He had 30 yards a kick return last year at Marshall. He's a dog for you. Jeremiah Love, a guy who was already in-house for you. He's a running back. You put him in the slot. Just an overall offensive weapon is Jeremiah Love. Jaden Greathouse, getting his feet underneath him from a really solid true freshman season last year. Hat tip Marcus Freeman, man, because they were aggressive in the portal, and they got some dudes now at different playmaker spots to really make this Mike Denbrock offense come to life. Now, do they have Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas out there, 2 first-round picks from LSU last season? No, but we'll see how this whole thing shakes out. What would a Jaden Daniels type season even look like for Riley Leonard? Again, this is a big what if, but we're going to talk about it. Last year, statistically speaking, here's what Jaden Daniels did. Ran for over 1,000 yards, threw for over 3,800 yards, accounted for 50 total touchdowns. Oh, by the way, he's got that nice little bronze statue at his house now called the Heisman, so good for him. Riley Leonard, in his best season at Duke, and this is when he was healthy, so this isn't last year, this is 2022, he threw for just under 3,000 yards, ran for 700 yards, and accounted for 33 touchdowns. So if we're comparing there's a pretty good gap between what Riley Leonard has done at Duke and what he could accomplish and needs to accomplish to have a Jaden Daniels type season at Notre Dame. So let's just sort of take a step backwards and assume that Riley Leonard isn't going to have the ridiculous season that Jaden Daniels did last year. Let's just say he's in the ballpark. I think, to me, the numbers you would see him have are right around 3,300 yards. So right around 300 to 400 yards more than his previous season best. I'll say he runs for 700 yards. So he's right in that range of what he's done already. So he's not running for 1,000, but he's solid. He's good. Let's say he adds 7 touchdowns onto his season best, which was 33. So he ends up running, passing, accounting for 40 total touchdowns. That's not bad. Is it what Jaden Daniels did last year with the crazy video game numbers he put up? But no, you're winning a lot of ball games with that. And having the right coordinator, the reason why I think this is worth unpacking is because having the right coordinator is like having the right tutor. Like, listen, I was horrific in math. Like, I withdrew from financial accounting in college because the teacher told me, like, hey, you're going to fail this. Withdraw while you still can. So got that W instead of the F, so shouts to that professor. But, like, if you have the right tutor in that class, that can change your entire grade. It makes everything make more sense for you. It comes together differently. You're seeing things you never saw before when you looked at different equations, different problems. That could be Mike Denbrock for Riley Leonard. Because if we did the same exercise this time a season ago and talked about Jaden Daniels, could he win the Heisman Trophy? You got people saying, well, Probably not, because like Jaden Daniels wouldn't even push the ball downfield last year. He couldn't even throw a deep pass. He wouldn't throw a deep pass. Great runner. That's awesome. But is he going to win the Heisman? A little bit rich for me. This is the same guy now that went out and led America in terms of yards per pass. So it's safe to say he unhitched the wagon. He put it all together. So there is a path here. Also, look at the schedule for Notre Dame. It's not brutal. It's really not. You're at A&M to open. That'll have storylines and then some with Mike Elko and Riley Leonard, and they're reunited now on the same field, different sidelines from their time at Duke. That'll be awesome. Louisville and South Bend, kind of a get-back game for Irish fans. Florida State, be a tough one, but it's in South Bend, and then you're at USC. If you're catching my drift here, allow Vegas to really bring this point home. Vegas has given Notre Dame minus odds to make the college football playoff at minus 170. So you have to bet $170 to make $100 for Notre Dame to make the playoff. Vegas likes Notre Dame. They like the roster. For me, with Riley Leonard, I am very much so, and I need to see it to believe it. Because I like the ability. I like what he's done in flashes. I haven't seen consistency. Last year, he became a little bit more of a known commodity at a national level, and he ended up getting dinged up, even though he played valiantly against Notre Dame, oddly enough, in the game he got hurt against when he was at Duke. Like, I need to see it. But to answer this what if this comes together this way, if Mike Denbrock totally elevates Riley Leonard and he has the season that we're talking about him having right now, the same way he elevated Jaden Daniels, Notre Dame's in that 5 seed. They are. Now, it's important to note, Notre Dame cannot be in that top 4 because they don't play in a conference. So they could go undefeated, number 1 in America, still be the number 5 team in America because of how the playoff works. That's not a bad path because you probably, as we mentioned already on the show, draw a G5 school to start. Then you play a power conference school that's likely going to be from the ACC or the Big 12, which is better than drawing the Big 10 or the SEC. There's a path here where that happens. And that's not a horrific draw if you are Notre Dame. And we've said this a few times, but I want to bring it home one more time. Notre Dame becomes a very real destination. At the high school level, yes, because I think that kind of removes the stigma of what you can accomplish at Notre Dame from a football perspective. It's more than just a degree and a big brand. Like, you can actually go and compete for national titles there if you end up having this kind of success and have a run like that. But maybe even more in an immediate sense, Notre Dame could become more of a portal destination. Because if Riley Leonard lights it up like that, that is now the second quarterback that has come to Notre Dame and had success. Sam Hartman previously from Wake Forest. You have a couple of receivers to where if Riley Leonard has success like this, I have to imagine that the FIU transfer and Chris Mitchell and the Marshall transfer and Jaden Harrison probably light it up. People are looking at Notre Dame and saying, okay, if I can get in there, which is, again, another if, a little bit of an obstacle, but if I can get in there, they have a proven track record now of guys transferring in, seamlessly integrating themselves into the team and having a lot of success on the field. So a ripple effect is on the table here for Riley Leonard should he have a Jaden Daniels type season. It's a big what if, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.